artist, a poet, a painter? Do you have something you want people to see? To let them know just exactly what your talents are? Well, our next guest does too. My name is Vin Dacquino. Our next guest is none other than Ms. Taylor. Hello, how are you? What a pleasure to see you. Tell me a little bit about who you are. Nancy Ray Taylor.
Exactly. Thank you. I appreciated you letting me be on the show and have this opportunity to get to speak. Thank you so much for this platform and just making it so wonderful.
It is a pleasure to have you here. I have seen your work. I love your work. You have been doing this for a while.
I have.
Who exactly is Nancy Ray Taylor?
Well, I started many years ago trying to figure out who I was as a young girl.
I still am.
Right, exactly. I think we all evolve
Yeah,
continuously.
really.
My motto is, I'm an ever-changing, rearranging life force.
That sounds
great. Yeah. When I was about 19, 20 years old, I was a young mom, and I wanted to do something that would help supplement the income for the family, and I was pretty good at drawing. So I started producing work for
Tough way to make money.
It really is, but I learned the commercial end of it.
Oh, that's a good thing.
So during my 20s, I was a sign painter, and I took every job I could get.
Wow, a sign painter.
That's right.
I mean, signs?
I did signs. I did political signs, and I also did different signs for businesses. There wasn't one business that I didn't drive by to say, hey, that doesn't look so good.
Was it just lettering, or were...
I did a lot of lettering. I was, because it's what they call the old-fashioned stick. And they don't do that so much anymore. Now, you know, the vinyl lettering, which they produce in different ways, and we have great digital.
And
but
the computer has changed our lives.
It sure has. It sure has. But meanwhile, I really wanted to be a muralist and commission artist, and I did. I evolved into that, and during my 20s, I started taking on different other projects, and by the time I was 30, 5 children.
Wow.
And I wanted to just continue this lifestyle so that I could be accessible to them at any time. Have lunch with them at school, help them with all kinds of things.
So you did paintings between diapers and homework?
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. They were my world, by the way. So it was because of them I became this commission artist. So I took, again, all sorts of jobs, anything that came my way through the college, and through high-end designers. I started meeting all kinds of people. I started painting windows during the holidays so we could have Christmas money or shoes for school. And so I just went around, looked for an opportunity and said, hey, you want to have this done on your window? And that's what it started to evolve. I started meeting designers, and they said, would you like to come in and do some homes that were being built, new construction? And I became pretty famous little artist in Austin because I was doing a lot of commission work in these very expensive homes.
What sort of things were you doing? I mean, artwork for the homes?
Right, that's right. Like trompe-l'oeils or like old frescoes were very popular during this time. It was during the change of
so you would go there, check out the home, and say, I know what you need in this spot.
That's right. And I would look at the color, and I would match what it was, and I would go with the theme. So if this looked like it needed to have an old world scene that was 200 years old, I would create that.
Wow.
In your dining room. So it's something that was also maybe around a wine cellar. They might want to have some grapes hanging. But I didn't stop there. I also did faux painting. And faux painting is making something look like, well, fake. Yeah. So marble wall, maybe, or more old wood, or old world was really my specialty. Everybody loved it. So I was booked out 6 months in advance. Wow. Very, very busy. But my favorite always was the murals. I mean, the murals were my favorite. So
did you do these right on the wall?
I did, right on the wall.
Wow.
Right on the wall. And all my work, as I told everyone for many years, was sold before I painted it. Wow. So I was very fortunate that I was able to make a very good living for my family. Over time, my husband at the time was able to leave his job and become my helper because I was doing really well. So I needed to transition into what artists do into the gallery world. And in order to do that, I needed to create a body of work. Body of work is something that the galleries can have to represent you, and they need enough of it to start with. And I knew this.
Yeah.
So raising
and
kids,
it had to be
doing
representative
work,
of all you could do.
That's right. That's right. Of all, typically they like to see. They like you to have a series to start with, and then as you grow and progress, then you can develop another series. So I started with a particular series. It's called my Path series. And these were on canvas, and they're acrylic paintings, done because I paint so quickly.
Right. I think we have some of them. There you go.
Yes,
Oh,
that was
wow.
pretty much the start of what I started to do with my body of work to create for my the galleries in the future to get representation. And these particular paintings, I wanted you to come in and stay for a while. I have several, and several since have sold. So I think I have a couple of more that we can show. There we
wow,
go.
Look at that.
And because I'm such
You're right.
a
Looks
fast
like you can
painter,
walk right in there.
That's right. And this particular piece took me 4 hours.
Wow.
I'm a very fast painter. And because
Yeah.
I'm a fast painter, I do 2 or 3 paintings at one time. And they're large pieces too. This one happens to be 4 foot tall by 3 foot wide.
Wow, I could probably do that in about 40 years.
I could teach you. I can guide you. So the next one is October Path. And so you see I was going through the different seasons of change. This helped, and this was typical of some of the murals I might do in some of my clients' houses or businesses.
Depending on the color and the
That's
theme
right.
of the house.
And that's right. And and it depends on on what they want in the room. Well, I moved to New York City, so we're jump forward.
Boy.
This is in Austin, and I moved to New York City to follow my dream, to let go of the faux painting. And when I came to New York, I started working for designers, and particularly one called Space Design that did the windows for Macy's, Lord & Taylor, and
Wow.
Saks. So I was their main muralist for a couple
holy
of
cow,
years.
Big time.
Yes, I was a background artist because I was fast. Again, I could get up there
that's
and
right. That's the difference.
and I learned how to airbrush, and that was wonderful for me. So it was a nice little add to my repertoire there, a little bit tools I could use. So that's what I started doing in New York, and I've been in New York now off and on for 8 years.
Wow.
I do a little bit of traveling, and 3 years ago, I went to Florida, and I had a vision. And instead of doing the vision on a vision board or creating a vision paper I decided to do it on canvas. And this particular piece, it is not all the elements, there's many elements in there, but from what you see this is what I wanted to unfold in my lifetime.
Beautiful.
So this started my Other Path series, which is now turned into a story. So for the last 3.5 years, I have been creating a story to somewhat mimic my own story and to help guide others.
Or is it an artistic story?
That's right. Actually, it's both, and novelette story. I don't know if how long it's gonna be. I'm at the beginning phases of writing, and one day I have so many ideas. I could probably make 10 novels out of this.
It's funny because many writers like myself do a story and then include illustrations. You do illustrations and then include the story.
That's right.
Which is like another angle.
That's right.
Which is very interesting.
Right. Well, I'm an intuitive artist. So what I did was I allowed the painting to speak to me, to unfold. So the story unfolded right before me. And as it started to unfold, I then was able to add more elements into it.
So it's your creative process.
That's right, it's my creative process. And meanwhile, I'm really kind of telling my own story, or at the very least, somewhat of my own inner soul.
So what is the story behind this story?
Okay, so that's good. Well, Abigail is the heroine of the story. And she is she found herself right off the bat. I introduce her as her mother is missing.
Oh, wow.
So Abigail is going on a journey to find her mother. And in this journey, she comes across several unusual characters as along with traveling companions. I didn't bring all of the paintings. I know that we have a few to show, and I could talk through each one of them. The cardinal, actually, this particular piece I'm not sure if I'm going to incorporate this one or not, but I might, because there are other cardinals in the story.
Oh, okay.
So I do have several paintings that it is or might not get the cut, but I do like the idea of the cardinal. This particular piece is called Running in Circles. The yellow bird is her companion, has yet to be named. As I said, I'm still writing the story. But this will be her companion that knocks on the door and said, let's go. Wow. And takes her on this journey. He's a tough little fella. And you see the compass is very important because the compass always guides our path. And then also the bubbles also are part of the whole overall story. So,
wow. So now there's another?
Yeah, there's several. This is our heroine, Abigail. She's on the stage. This is called All the World's a Stage. And she is contemplating what is it that she wants to do in life. Now, this is before she enters the outer world, as we call it, goes into, I suppose it would be inner world according to the hero's journey. She goes into the inner world in search of, and so this is her part of contemplating what's going on. Below her feet, what you really can't see right here is kind of cropped, is a couple of fish, and they're telling the story.
Oh, wow.
So the fish are telling the story.
This is very different.
Yes.
Okay. And then we have another?
Yes. We have a couple more that go with the story. Oh, it's fine.
Yeah. Oh, there we go.
This is Timekeeper. Timekeeper is someone that Abigail meets along the way. After she's been through a lot of lessons, let's put, twists and turns from misguided threshold guardians who guided her in the wrong path, she ends up meeting Timekeeper, and Timekeeper reminds her of who she is and where she's going. So the keys are an extremely important element of this whole story. So it's a good, it's been good to develop this in my own self because it helps me to tell my own stories, And
you're moving along in this?
I am. I'm moving along this. I have the first chapter written. And
there you go.
That's right. I just started 2 weeks ago, and I've joined several writing groups so I could get their feedback and but it's really going great. It's very exciting to see the words go with the paintings.
Yeah, so interesting to me. It's sort of, I hate to say this, but backwards to me. You know, like you create the painting and then you create the story that goes with the painting, which is a little different.
But it's a visual. I'm a visual artist.
You're right. So, and for me, somehow the story happens in my head and I begin to see it. And for me, once I begin, I have a sense of where I'm going to get to the end, but I change it 3-4 times, depending on where this character takes me. So where your paintings take you, my characters take me.
Right.
Which is a little different, but again, it's a creative process.
That's right.
And an artist needs to find the creative process within themselves. And that's important, to know what motivates you and what gets you moving and thinking until you ultimately get to the end.
Right.
So I think we have another painting.
Right, the one that I brought in.
And yet we also have an in-studio painting. You actually you brought one here, is that right?
That's right, I did.
Let's see that.
It was interesting what you just said about the writing, if you don't mind me adding a little bit about this.
Yeah.
When I was a young girl, my very first love was writing. I was in third grade, and it was the love of writing first. I didn't really see myself as a visual artist.
Wow.
But something very tragic happened to me in this particular process, and my mother had somewhat thrown this back at me as you'll never be any good. And I took this very seriously
and at heart.
So, yes, but I put it in the back burner, and I didn't show that part of me. But I knew
that happens so often.
She couldn't stop me painting. All right, so it came out in other ways.
Yeah.
So I developed that first, and now that I'm older and I know better, and I know the love inside of me.
Yeah. Do you think if she hadn't done that, you would have become a writer instead of a painter?
I really wanted to be a writer. That was my first love. It has always been my love, but I've always been very, I guess, nervous about talking about it, only because I didn't think I was good enough until I got older and realized that.
And again, I mean, I didn't write my first book
Yeah.
until I was 30.
Right.
And before that, I walked around saying, I'm a writer, I'm a writer, I'm a writer. But as I tell writers, you're not a writer until you write.
That's right. A writer
You're a wannabe writer, but you're not a writer.
That's right.
You have to write, and a painter has to paint.
That's right. That's right.
Back in my mind, I am a writer, but there's always been a yearning for sculpture. I really want to do sculpting, but I just, again, I get close and then I don't get there.
Oh, you just got to get your hands in it.
Yeah, you got to get your hands in it.
Yes.
And you're right. And again, you're a wannabe until you do it. And you need to follow your yearning. You need to listen. Same way with the spirits. You know, people say, are there spirits out there? I say, I don't know, listen. Do you hear them?
That's
and
good.
are you really listening?
That's right.
And you're listening to your creative juices and producing beautiful work as a result.
Yes, thank you.
So we did see the painting that you brought here, and you did want to talk about it. We'll make the cameraman crazy
I know.
and say, can you
Sorry.
go back there again?
All right, so this particular piece is
There we are.
It is, called Cage of Convenience. And at one point, see, there is the cardinal again. So I know that I try to see if I can't mesh the other one in with it. But this is Cage of Convenience. And Abigail comes across this particular, it's a she-wolf in the painting. And she, if you see, the cage door is open. She is free to go. But she's in this jeweled cage, and she's been beaten down so badly by life, she's afraid to go. She's very fearful to get out. So this is one of Abigail's challenges, is to help release this she-wolf back into where she needs to go in her own life.
What a wonderful message. That, you know, I mean, there's so many people like that. They're trapped in their cages. The cage door is open, but they're afraid to step out.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, and the only thing holding them back is them.
That's right.
You know,
that's the only thing holding them back. It's just
Yeah.
themselves. And so I think partly, you know, of course we all, most of us, a lot of us have that issues within ourselves, but I think a lot of women really feel that way. And so I would love very much for the story to speak to the young at heart of many ages.
Is this book an encouragement for young artists?
I think mostly it's just an encouragement in general for those who might feel like they might be trapped or need an inspiration. It's an extreme inspiration book, you know, and so that's what I'm trying, my message to get across.
Yeah, this show is all about passion. It's about following your passion and having a dream and chasing it.
That's right. That's right.
And trying to catch it. I mean, that's really what it is. And so many people out there have passions, desires to be something, but they can't get out of that cage. They're in that cage.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm trying to say. And it could be anything. It's a cage of convenience.
That's right. A cage of convenience.
That's right.
Yep.
We put ourselves in a position and say we're not able to go out any further because that's not how you follow A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But I live it. You live it. We are doing something
when
totally
I was
different.
younger, I had friends who preferred to stay home and watch TV. I call them sofa bums. I said, do you really want to live your life as a sofa bum? And some of them have.
Right.
Some of them now are 60 years old, and they still haven't gotten off that couch. And it's a shame.
It is
but
a shame.
It's safe.
It's safe.
It's a safe place.
It's a safe place.
Yeah. It doesn't mean it's a good place.
Right.
It's just a safe place.
That's right. You do have no idea what it's like until you go out.
Yep, until you get out there.
That's
when
right.
you feel that freedom.
Follow your passion.
I say that to young writers. I say, listen to me. You're not a writer until you sit down and that piece becomes you. When you are so involved in that piece, when your character is writing the book, not you, and you sit there and you realize that you are part of this thing. You aren't creating it. You have been created with it. You are part of the whole. When you've been there, you are a writer. And you have to get in that zone. And some writers have never gotten in there, so they don't understand what it's like to drown in their passion, you know, and to actually get wet and do it, you know, and it's an amazing feeling. And you obviously been there, done that,
That's
and
right.
are still doing it.
Right. I think I'm very fortunate because I did start off painting
Yeah.
because I was able to know what it's like to get into the zone. And now I have strong boundaries with those that's around me to say, hey, I need
And
a
you
little
hit
bit.
the commercial end. There's writers and artists who are sitting home with their sketch pads and they've never gotten beyond the sketch pad. And in terms of making money, they haven't made a nickel.
Right.
So you have had commercial success.
Right.
That's big.
It is. But I
Because-
went knocking on doors too. I didn't stay home. I was
Yeah.
young, very
Yeah.
courageous.
You validated
and I did. I
your,
knocked.
your passion.
Right.
And it's very hard to do in this day and age. I tell that to writers too. Go in a library. How many millions of books are in that library? How many people have written books before you? What's going to make your book stand out? And the correct answer is, I am.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep. You need to believe in you, stand by you. And you do. You have an incredible belief in yourself. And part of that is your mother's fault.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to agree with you.
Yes. Yeah. And
She pushed me.
That's right. She pushed you.
Right.
And sometimes we need that.
That's right.
How many times have we heard you succeed through pain? No pain, no gain.
That's right.
Well, in some cases, that's so wrong. In other cases, that's so right. You have to know what it's like to fail to understand success. And that's really true.
It is.
And you have to just keep going. And when people say, yeah, that's not good, and you believe it is, you have to stand by it.
That's right.
Look at how many wonderful artists and painters have done that before us, where they've been turned down and turned down and turned down. The wonderful story of Edgar Allan Poe, I don't even know if it's 100% correct, was when he went into the publishers with his hat and said, I wrote a poem that I want to sell to you, and they didn't want it. And eventually, he said, but I need the money, and they chipped in and they threw money in his hat for a poem you may have heard of called The Raven.
Yeah.
You know? So, and Stephen Crane, who sat on copies of Maggie of the Streets as furniture in front of his fireplace because he couldn't sell them. And then he sold Red Badge of Courage, and you couldn't touch a copy of Maggie of the Streets for a decent price. So, with all that said, the power
It's within.
within.
That's right.
Talk to us. What do you suggest to those wannabe artists that are out there?
Listen, I say just do it. What is it that you want to do? What is it that you desire in your heart to do? Find it. Find a way to find that passion and follow your path. Do. You'll be so happy you did, really. Just go for it. Knock on doors.
So good to hear you say that, and so good for them to hear you say that. Because there's a whole bunch of sofa bums out there. I hope that's not you. Get off that couch. Get out there and do whatever it is. I don't care if it's paint cars or paint paintings or write books or write Hallmark poetry. Whatever it is, go find it. Nancy, I can't thank you enough. Good luck with this book.
Yes.
Is it called anything yet?
I'm toying with some ideas, so no, it's still a little too soon.
So we
to
still
put
don't even
that
have
out
a name
there.
for this thing.
Yes, no, not at all.
But it's coming. It's coming along.
Right, it's coming
Is
along.
all the artwork done for it?
It's almost complete.
Almost
It is almost
complete.
complete, and you can see my work at my website, plus some other things that I have
Ah,
working.
that website. If you want to talk to Nancy,
Yes.
talk to her. Find her
That's right.
website. What is the website?
It's nancyraytaylor.com.
That's easy enough.
Yes.
Nancy Ray Taylor, all1.com.
That's right.
And are there ways for them to get in touch with you through that?
Yes, that you can contact me on the website,
Terrific.
straight through. And I have several things coming up. I have a workshop coming up in
good.
North Carolina,
Oh,
November
wow.
17th and 18th in a little bitty town called Tryon. And you can join me. Would love that. It would be a great
All right,
experience.
well, get on the plane, get over there to North Carolina.
That's right, North
And
Carolina,
hopefully,
south of Asheville.
Matthew will be there and gone. Again, Nancy, I just cannot thank you enough for being here. Thank you
sir.
for sharing your wonderful work with us. Thank you for sharing your passion.
Yes.
Uh,
Thank
it's
you
a
for
good-
having me.
Well, it's a treat. And you're welcome to come back when this
right.
book is done.
I will.
I want to see
Definitely.
this book.
I might have a different color hair, but I'll yeah.
That's good. I might too. I like that blue. I might go with the blue. Hey, thank you for coming here today. Thank you for coming here today. Follow your passion.